Hello everybody, Richard the Dick Coughlan, Dick Dynasty 666 with just another good old-fashioned, old-school YouTube response video, the way it used to be. The other day I get sent a link to a tweet posted by YouTube user Jordan Owen, who I'm sure you're all familiar with. But the tweet that Jordan Owen posted was one that was, a little bit sad, really. The tweet said, "That moment when you realise you have more subscribers on YouTube than Richard Coughlan." Really, Jordan? That's the level you've got to in life? You have set your ambitions and targets and sights so far down the fucking pole, you actually felt a bit of pride proclaiming that you had more subscribers than Richard Coughlan, a guy who started on YouTube about a year after you, a guy who is currently on his 4th channel in less than 7 years, opposed to you, who's on the same channel. You're basically bragging about the fact that you beat a guy in a running race, even though you started 100 metres ahead of him, and he had to go and restart 4 times over because someone came along and chopped the bottom of his legs off. Plus, I don't think it's really fair to have a go at Jordan. I could push him over the edge to the point of no return. I'll do the next best thing. I'll go after Jordan's husband, Davis Aurini. And yes, I don't mean husband as in those two are gay, no, I mean husband as in Jordan is Aurini's bitch. Because let's face it, that's the way that relationship worked. This is what we learnt when they had their little spat and they fell out. Jordan, what did he do? He fucking stabbed Aurini in the back out of nowhere, took the money and run. Typical fucking woman. Davis Aurini goes publicly anywhere he can, shares private Skype conversations, even goes as far to suggest that Jordan Owen is severely mentally disturbed, suffering from hallucinations, and potentially the next Elliot Rodgers. But then, eventually, Jordan gives in and lets him back in his life. Why don't you just bend over, Jordan, spread those big fat hairy arse cheeks of yours, let Aurini lube his head up and shove it straight up there, because that's effectively what you're doing. Davis Aurini has a podcast. It's imaginatively titled The Podcast. He must have been up all night thinking of that. As it hasn't got a name, I'm just going to refer to it as Drowning in Hubris. I just found like a 4.5 minutes of it, and I'm going to respond to that. So let's go, shall we? Put up your brollies, this is going to be a big one.
Now, the topic this week is neo-masculinity.
Of course, it would be neo-masculinity because, there's a few things you are, Davis, that would have the word neo at the front of them, isn't it?
This is the term that Roosh has recently coined.
Roosh V, the pick-up artist, who not that long ago made a video stating that he thought the best way to prevent rape was to make it legal on private property.
We've had the manosphere.
It's called the manosphere. It's more like a sort of lump. It's a mound. It's a blob.
We've had the whole red pill, blue pill thing.
The only thing I've taken from the red pill thing is that I really would love them to do a reboot of The Matrix. But in this version, when Neo takes the red pill, he turns into Davis Aurini. And everyone kills themselves.
We have game, which is certainly useful.
Yes, game, which is certainly useful, in the same way that rope and chloroform is.
You don't just use it for picking up sluts in bars, okay?
Why would you need to use game on women who are sluts? Surely that's completely redundant. Why are you sleeping with these sluts in the first place? Isn't that a little bit, hypocritical of you to sit there and call these women sluts and go with them anyway? Let's hear him out. You don't just use it for sluts in bars. What else can you use game for, Davis?
You also use it with your wife.
Yes, you have to use it with your wife. I mean, don't think that once you get married you can then just have a mutual relationship in which you understand and know each other. No, you've still got to continue with the manipulation and coercion tactics. So you can use it on girls in bars and your wife. Could you use it anywhere else, Davis?
Or even your nieces.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Your nieces.
He went from girls in bars to your wife to nieces. He didn't go to... What's next beyond that? Pets? Are we going to need some shovels and a flashlight and find a graveyard to go to the next level? I've got a funny feeling if your family do hear this podcast, don't expect to be invited over for fucking Christmas.
And even little girls...
Go on.
Are still... They are little women.
Okay. I think what we just experienced there was a very rare moment of honesty from Davis Aurini. Unfortunately, it's probably one that he really should have kept to himself.
I mean, the way all of this started is with feminism breaking apart the family, destroying masculine role models.
Feminism breaking apart the family. That's a bit rich, Davis, from a guy who in 2013, may I remind you, you shagged a woman who was married, didn't you? You were shagging a woman who was married and she had 2 kids. One of them was only 6 months old. And to top it all off, her husband was your best friend. So please, go on then, lecture me, Davis, about destroying the family unit.
And this is one of the big issues we see in modern society is that there are no male-only spaces.
There are no male-only spaces, okay? None. There are there's nowhere where just men can go. There's no way there's no way you could create or make one. There's none.
There are so few places that guys can go.
There are so few places now, are there? It was none 2 seconds ago, and now it's a few. Why are you so desperate to be in a room with men?
Because guys are going to speak differently when women are listening.
That's quite worrying, Davis, considering your videos on YouTube and your Twitter and that are publicly viewable. So that's what you say when you know loads of people can hear you. And he's just said that you talk a lot more differently when you're behind closed doors.
And this is an interesting point.
Thank you for telling me that in advance, Davis, because there's no way I would have known otherwise.
Sexual moderation.
Oh, yeah, sexual moderation. There's nothing like a fucking bit of sexual... Hey, do you have any sex here? Oh, yeah, was it moderate? Fucking right.
And so, yes, you need moderation in all things.
Could you possibly take that idea of moderation and apply it to your views on, oh, I don't know, the Holocaust or racial segregation or something like that?
If you pursue the path of the blind hedonist, you're going to wind up addicted to drugs, posting embarrassing videos on YouTube.
Yes, 2 out of 2.
Because again, like, all of these things that we talk about, be it feminism, social justice, socialism, like these are all forms of Marxism.
Yeah, I fucking hate all that stuff, trying to discuss ideas of fairness and equality.
Hatred of God, it's a really good way to sum it up. There's a really quick and easy way to sum it up.
Hatred of God. When did you become a Christian evangelist?
Technological skepticism.
So it's bad. It's bad to be skeptical of technology. I mean, surely skepticism in anything is good. No?
Which,
Yeah?
you know, I'm just going to leave that one for now. We might come back to it later.
Yeah, you've only got an hour on this podcast. Why? Did you just suddenly realise you couldn't really explain what you were talking about? Folks, you think he writes this stuff down? No, this man's making this shit up as he goes along.
Technology is moving really fast.
Oh, we're talking about technology now, are we? Oh, so you changed your mind. You thought of something.
You know, one metaphor I heard, it's like an out-of-control bus speeding down the highway with just the foot pressed down on the accelerator and the windows blacked out.
A bus out of control, windows blacked out. That's how technology is to you. Why do the windows have to be blacked out? Or can you not make anything sound bad without making it a little bit blacker?
We don't know where it's going. We have no plan.
What is this we, Davis? What is your contribution to the advancement of technology? Exactly. I'm more worried about the effect you've had, the detrimental effect you've had on our human evolution.
The current environment of masturbating bonobos?
First of all, Davis, it's not bonobos, it's bonobos. And second of all, when you say current environment, please tell me you mean this as a metaphor. You're not literally in an environment of masturbating bonobos. Because even if you were, mate, you still would not be the most highly advanced form of life in the fucking area.
Is not enough for men like us.
That is true. I remember the good old days when being surrounded by wanking safari park chimps was all a man needed.
Casual sex is so easy to get.
Is it now, Davis? Is it so easy to get? Well, if it's so easy to get, could you maybe tell that to Jordan? He seems a bit lonely.
And even if you have terrible hygiene and you creep out women, there's still, you know, limitless internet pornography.
Davis has got a point there, because this is the first time in human civilization that we know of where men have not found masturbation challenging.
You know, yesterday there were these social justice warriors trying to insult me on Twitter.
Hold on. There were people trying to insult you on Twitter. You're on Twitter and there's these people who you disagree with, who you are constantly going after and criticising. They're insulting you on Twitter? This is an outrage, David. Is there one example anyone can hear of that ever happening? Of someone being insulted and harassed on Twitter? I'll give you a clue, Davis. You made a film about her not that long ago.
And I don't even understand why they think this is an insult. I mean,
the list of things you don't understand, Davis, in all fairness, could be turned into a trading card series.
Insulting less than the time of heartache, even though that this person, you know, do you have a background in film? Do you have an established body? No, I don't care what you say. You're just...
Wait, so you're saying to me that no one can insult or criticise or have any fucking valid opinion on your film unless, of course, they've got a background in it. What you're doing here is kind of like me going on stage at a comedy gig. No one laughs at anything I say, and I go, well, what the fuck do you know? It's not... Do you have a background in comedy, writing jokes? No, fuck you.
You're just saying this because you don't like me.
I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say that there are a few people out there who not only don't like you, but also think that everything you do and say is shit. I think it's possible that one of those things can cause the other. They're not mutually exclusive.
Oh, yeah, your short films are a joke. If I had a nickel for every...
Davis, you okay?
God, I can't even isolate any of these to give you an example.
Why? They're tweets, Davis. They're 140 characters each. You just read them. It should take 5 seconds or so.
They are so incredibly unfunny.
First of all, Davis, just because someone criticises you does not mean they're obliged to do it in a humorous or witty way. Even if they did, they're criticising you, therefore it's highly unlikely you're going to find the humour in it. Also, Davis, it's very likely that these people don't really give a shit if you laugh. In fact, maybe I would say it goes as far as to say they don't want you laughing because they don't want to be able to write a joke that you, white nationalist on paper, neo-Nazi scumbag, piece of shit, vaudevillian cabaret evil magician-looking crystal maze motherfucker finds amusing.
They tweet random pics at you.
Well, let me say this now, because I don't want to be accused of this, right? If you're out there watching this, do not send random pics to fucking Davis Aurini. Do not send random fucking pictures to this guy.
And that's an insult. That's a joke. That's humor. It's
no, Davis. It's trolling, and the fact you've mentioned it on your podcast suggests that maybe it worked.
It's just snark. It's just posturing.
You are the last motherfucker on planet Earth who gets to fucking criticize anyone or anything for posturing, my friend.
It's the same way that we pretend to be people.
Yes, because, Davis, when the camera is not on me when I'm doing a live show or video, as soon as I turn it off, I revert back to my lizard form. You pretend to be a person, so you're telling me the guy you are in your YouTube videos is somebody who, in your opinion, is more of a person.
We pretend to have opinions.
Couldn't you just call this an hour of psychological projection with Davis Aurini?
No, and we just snark at everything.
It'd be nicer if people were nice to each other. If people were more civilised, and could be respectful, and could actually talk to people and try and understand, rather than just, why do you just have to be so rude?
There needs to be more to life than that.
I'm pretty sure, Davis, that, everybody who's ever said anything bad about you, whether it's me now, on Twitter or anything, I'm pretty sure they've got other shit going on, mate. In between, I'm pretty sure they don't build their life around, I've got to remind Davis Aurini he's a slaphead little twat. But I will say this, Davis, this video, like anything else I've ever done to you, and probably anything else anyone else has done to you, it's a bit unnecessary, because no one needs to actually go out of their way to make you look like a twat, because even when you say something that sounds like it's about to be a reasonable point, you go and fuck it up. For example, this sentence that I'll leave you with.
We need some sort of positive ethos that involves building ourselves as human beings and building up the society around us.
Now, finish it off and completely fuck it up.
And the simple fact of the matter is that the women aren't going to do it.
Bitches, man. Richard the Dick Coughlan, Dick Dynasty 666. Good night, may God be less.